A bucolic and serene scene here in Gleneagles, Scotland, at the foot of the Scottish Highlands, where this year's G8 summit took place amid a great deal of chaos and confusion that marred the summit earlier in the week. The G8 leaders now, having departed, head home to tackle some of the problems that they dealt with at this year's summit, which included, of course, around the world. Focusing next with Tyler Matheson and Maria Bartiromo.
Ron, thank you very much, and superb work all week from Gleneagles. The G8, one of the most interesting such summits in all memory. The final hour of trading begins now.
Now, on the closing bell, the long-term impact from a new wave of terrorism. See what it will mean for overseas investing. Plus, weathering the storm. How to reposition your portfolio as the hurricane season moves in. And big news for biotech. One major firm is broadening its range. We have the lowdown on a new list of opportunities. The final and most important hour of the trading day is underway as we count you down to the closing bell.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the closing bell. I'm Maria Bartiromo.
And I'm Tyler Matheson. Welcome from me as well. Let's take a look now at the stories Wall Street is talking about at this hour. Equities in a big rally as the jobless rate dips to a 4-year low. The G8 adjourns in Scotland one day after the London terror bombings. And oil stabilizes near $61 a barrel as Hurricane Dennis bears down on the Gulf of Mexico. Now a closer look at the numbers on this last day of a holiday-shortened trading week. The Dow Industrials, as you can see there, adding to earlier gains, now up the better part of 140 points at 10,441.40. Nasdaq, a 1.5% rise for Nasdaq. Major move there, up from the get-go today. A day clearly of somewhat of relief after yesterday's terror attacks in London. Those good jobless numbers as well. And the S&P 500 up 12 points, almost 13 points at 1210.57.
All right, let's take a look at our market reporters, see what they're seeing. One day after the London terrorist attacks, we've got a pretty good rally in stocks based on what some people are calling a Goldilocks scenario from the jobs numbers today. Leslie LaRoche is at the Nasdaq. Leslie.
Well, basically, Marie, we have a very, very solid picture. A lot of green on the screen today, and there are some important milestones that we are facing. The Nasdaq has already, on its intraday basis, hit its highest levels since January. So we have the Nasdaq swinging higher by about 32 points, 2108. So that is a new intraday high for the Nasdaq. And you have seen this steady rise throughout the session. In terms of the sectors, semiconductor index up almost 2.5% today. The Internet Index is not doing nearly as well, so that leadership is re-exerting itself today. Let's talk a little bit more about these resilient markets because it's the highest level since January, so it looks like we're on track. The Nasdaq has not closed above 2,100 since January and has only done so 3 times this year. That'll be important. The chips, this SOX index I was just talking about, that's 4-month highs. We have networkers on the rise, but the volume, if there is any issue or situation in the market, it is that volume, Maria, is very, very light at 1.2 billion on a summer Friday. Perhaps it's not surprising. Nonetheless, we are in rally mode here at the Nasdaq. Maria, back to you.
All right, Leslie, thank you. Leslie LaRoche with that 32-point rally in the Nasdaq. Let's get to Joe Kernan. He's watching specific names today, and there are a lot of winners, Joe.
There are, Maria. What a week for the Dow Jones Industrial Average to close above 10,400, and it's being led by, well, it is the Dow, but the market itself being led by some key Dow components. Most active stock on the New York Stock Exchange today by a long shot is General Electric. Positive comments coming from a couple of different places, moving from 74 all the way to 79. There is some positive commentary about the upcoming earnings report. A lot of it
Almost 150-point gain. Bob?
Yeah, and we're up almost 250 points from the lows yesterday. That's pretty impressive, and Joe is right. Here's what's interesting. All day long, the bulls have been coming up to me or messaging me and saying the economic stats have been great this week. That's one of the reasons the market has been so resilient. But wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, we were getting good economic stats, and there was concerns that the Fed was going to keep raising interest rates because of good economic stats. What happened to the worries about the Federal Reserve raising rates? What happened to the worries about inflation? I don't hear them at all today, and people shrug when I ask about them. The market tends to get things in their head, and then they get other things in their head. Take a look at cyclical stocks. The Dow's up about 1% on the week, but the cyclical components in the Dow and cyclicals in general are doing very well. Yes, Alcoa certainly was a factor in that, but if you look across the board here, you look at the chemical stocks like Dow, steel stocks, metals like Phelps Dodge, right across the board are doing well, and the transports also are having a very good week. Cyclicals, that's a one-week chart of the cyclical index, up about 2.5%. The one that I really want to point out to you is the small cap Russell 2000. We are at historic highs right now in the Russell 2000. It hit them at the end of 2004. It's back up there again, and what an outperformance. Once again, small stocks are killing big stocks. This has got to be the 7th year or so. The mid-cap index also at 5-year highs. I have been at historic highs. I've pointed out that many small cap stocks are now mid-caps. The home builders, oil service stocks, a lot of real estate investment trusts are now mid-cap stocks, and those are the ones that have been moving up the mid-cap index. You want to talk about outperformance? Let me just point out that the Russell 2000 since 1999 is up 56%. The S&P 500 is down 1.6%. There is a statistic. Small caps killing big stocks. This is the 7th straight year. Maria, back to you.
All right. Bob Pisani, thanks very much. The big man on campus down there. For all of the up-to-the-minute market dispatches, including analysis and commentary, go to our website, cnbc.com on MSN. Well, this morning we did get the top story of the day, and that is the